Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning from Lima. My name is Manasini Mutatan, First Secretary of the Royal Thai Embassy in Lima. On behalf of the ASEAN Committee in Lima, I would like to welcome you to our webinar entitled ASEAN and Peru in 2021, a Visionary Partnership. The purpose of the webinar is to enhance knowledge and understanding about the Association of Southeast Asian Nations and its relationship with Peru and Latin America, especially in political and economic and socio-cultural terms. The webinar will explore also the potential opportunities and challenges for ASEAN and Peru, as well as the Asia-Pacific and Pacific Alliance for boosting cooperation in areas of mutual interest. Today, we will have 5 distinguished speakers on this topic. Afterwards, there will be a Q&A session. Without further ado, may I please invite Her Excellency, Ms. Feni Nuli, Ambassador of Malaysia to Peru, to give the opening remarks for the seminar. Please, Your Excellency.
Thank you, Miss. Thank you, Messi. Thank you. Her Excellency Ambassador Marina Estela Anwabe, Ambassador of Indonesia to the Republic of Peru, His Excellency Ambassador Rai Chasombat, Ambassador of Thailand to the Republic of Peru, Distinguished Professor Dr. Carlos Aquino, Director of Center for Asian Studies of the National University of San Marcos, Professor Mario Stallo of the CAS, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues in this room and not in this room, sorry, in this webinar, those who are virtually connected to, welcome to the webinar on ASEAN and Peru, a Visionaries Partnership. This is very interesting topic, especially on Monday morning, welcome to the spring in Peru, actually. Of course, it gave me great pleasure to partake in this webinar. On the outset, let me congratulate Dr. Carlos and his team on the 3rd anniversary of the establishment of the Center for East Asian Study of the National University of San Marcos. And I was made to understand that it was established in November 3rd, 2018. Today, we are indeed lucky to have my colleague here, ASEAN colleague, and also 2 prominent figures that from the University of San Marcos that are very well versed on ASEAN topic as well as so Asian's continent. Let me just briefly introduce ASEAN to the audience or to those who partake in this webinar. Of course, most of you are very well versed on this, but allow me to just to briefly introduce as the chair of the ASEAN Committee in Lima. I think this is my responsibility to share a little bit on ASEAN. So ASEAN, as you know, is a very relatively young at the age of 54 this year. To me, it will be an understatement to merely state that ASEAN is unique. Our 10 countries indeed are very diverse, such as in political, economically, and culturally, and yet we are born by rich cultural and historical link. We are different, and yet we share the same value, driven by respect. The motto that perhaps some of you already heard before this, one visions, one identity, one community, aptly describe ASEAN as an entity that forms the bedrock that makes ASEAN special, and the miracle that it is today. Special to me because we are bonded as one, and miracle because we are forced to be reckoned with. Since the establishment, the 10 ASEAN countries have lived in peace and harmony, which have contributed to the stability of the region. Of course, we have our conflict, but we settle the dispute amicably through close consultation and negotiations. Each member state, of course, has its own strategic outlook, politically calculations and national interests. Despite this, ASEAN has shown that it is still able to work together and find common ground. This is because of the convictions of ASEAN members that ASEAN is greater than the sum of its parts. By coming together in one collective voice instead of going our separate ways as 10 desperate countries, ASEAN members have strengthened our standing in the world. Through ASEAN, we have been able to engage and cooperate with major countries, with an international organization. We have partners with major countries. By integrating our economies, we have enabled our people to gain from regional divisions of labor, and we have enhanced ASEAN value propositions to investors. Today, ASEAN is one of the most vibrant economic groupings in the world. In terms of talking about economic development, we have progressed by leaps and bounds. The proclamations of ASEAN Economic Community in 2015, which is a subset to the larger ASEAN community, has acted as an impetus in propelling the regional growth forward. In 2020, the estimated growth total GDP of all ASEAN amounted approximately $3.08 trillion US, hence making it the 5th largest economy in the world. With a positive and promising economic outlook forecasted by many credible institutions and entities in the year to come, it is possible for ASEAN to attain another milestone since its inception by becoming the 4th largest economy in the world by 2030. In terms of geopolitical significance, due to our strong convictions, belief, and adherence to neutrality, the regional bloc has earned its international recognitions. ASEAN stands tall in this respect. ASEAN has always been recognized as a primary driving force in regional architecture. We bring together major powers to negotiate and discuss on pertinent strategic and mutually beneficial issues. This is manifested in the form of course, in the ASEAN Regional Forum, ASEAN Dialogue Partners, ASEAN Treaty of Amity and Cooperation, to name a few. Indeed, I'm of the view that there is vast potential for market for Peru to collaborate with ASEAN. ASEAN is a bloc that brings together 10 emerging economies: Brunei, Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Malaysia, Myanmar, Philippines, Thailand, Singapore, and Vietnam. Together, these 10 nations have more than 665 million inhabitants. So there's a vast market, there's a vast potential, and I'm encouraged Peru to explore this opportunity in ASEAN. So I will not go for longer in my remarks. So with this, I wish all of us a very successful webinar. So thank you once again for being here, some of you, and I look forward to continue this discussions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for your kind opening remarks. May I please invite His Excellency, Mr. Sarayut Chasombat, Ambassador of Thailand to Peru, to give some remarks, please.
Excellencies, Excellency Fanny Nuli, Ambassador of Malaysia, Excellency Marina Estela Anwar Bey, Ambassador of Indonesia, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Good morning from Lima. It is our pleasure and honor to jointly organize the webinar program entitled ASEAN and Peru, a visionary partnership with the Center of Asian Studies, University of San Marcos in Peru. I would like to congratulate the center for organizing many interesting events to inform Peruvian students and general public about the growing dynamic between Peru and Southeast Asian countries. I would like to thank Professor Carlos Aquino, Director of the Center for Asian Studies, who is a keen and knowledgeable speaker on Peru's relations with ASEAN and the Asia-Pacific region. Today, my remarks will be brief and I will touch upon three topics. First, what is ASEAN and what it is doing right now? Second, Thailand's expectations and our role in ASEAN. And third, what can ASEAN and Peru do to foster our cooperation? The first one, what is ASEAN and what are our priorities right now? ASEAN, our regional grouping of 10 Southeast Asian countries, was born on the 8th of August, 1967 in Bangkok, in Thailand. Proudly, one of the founding fathers was Dr. Thanath Khoman, the Thai foreign minister at that time. And we just celebrated our 54th anniversary early last month. As one of the founding members, Thailand has proudly and actively contributed to ASEAN's remarkable journey to become a peaceful, stable, economically prosperous, diverse, people-centered and oriented, rules-based community. ASEAN has been and will remain a cornerstone of Thailand's foreign policy. During Thailand's chairmanship in 2019, under the theme of Advancing Partnership for Sustainability, key deliverables were achieved, such as enhancing ASEAN's preparedness to manage regional peace and security, enhancing ASEAN's connectivity through trade, investment, and tourism, and also preparedness for the fourth industrial revolution, enabling sustainable development in the region, among others. And now I want to touch upon Thailand's role in ASEAN. Handling the COVID-19 pandemic is a top priority for Thailand and ASEAN. ASEAN is now utilizing the COVID-19 ASEAN Response Fund and initiative proposed by Thailand to procure COVID-19 vaccines from COVAX facility in order to complement national vaccine rollouts. Addressing the socio-economic impact of COVID-19 is important as fighting the pandemic itself, recognizing that sustainability plays a key role in our recovery from COVID-19. Thailand, as the ASEAN coordinator on sustainable development cooperation, has introduced the bio-circular green or BCG economy as a strategy for ASEAN's sustainable post-COVID economic recovery and growth. Thailand is committed to promoting regional integration and economic openness, which is a key driver for prosperity. ASEAN right now is the world's 5th largest economy with a combined GDP of over 2.5 trillion US dollars and the 3rd largest consumer market in the world with over 600 million people. ASEAN will become the 4th largest market in the world by 2050. With its links to other major economies through various FTAs, including China, India, and the most recent ASEAN-led economic agreement, Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, or RCEP, ASEAN is tipped to become an even larger global economic powerhouse. Looking beyond, Thailand has actively worked with ASEAN member states to promote ASEAN's cooperation with our external partners. During the 34th ASEAN Summit during Thailand's chairmanship, ASEAN adopted the ASEAN outlook on the Indo-Pacific as a tool to bolster cooperation with our partners, especially in the realms of connectivity, sustainable development, economic and maritime cooperation. In the face of today's complex geopolitical landscape, we are working hard to ensure ASEAN's centrality and solidarity. Now, I want to look into the future. What is the prospect for ASEAN-Peru cooperation? I'm pleased to note that ASEAN and Peru, our relations are steadily growing from strength to strength. We welcome Peru's accession to the Treaty of Amity and Cooperation in Southeast Asia in 2019, when Thailand was the chair of ASEAN. Ambassador Jaime Pomareda, Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs of Peru, at that time attended the 52nd meeting of Ministers of Foreign Affairs of ASEAN in Bangkok, where he signed the instrument of accession of Peru to the Treaty of Amity and Cooperation in Southeast Asia, which makes Peru the 38th contracting party to the treaty. Adherence to the TAC, or the Treaty of Amity and Cooperation in Southeast Asia, lays the groundwork for Peru to cooperate with ASEAN in a diverse number of areas of shared interest, such as promoting regional security and fostering closer economic cooperation. In 2020, Peru was one of the main economic partners of ASEAN in Latin America and the Caribbean. Peru's openness to the Asia-Pacific region can be seen in the recent entry into force of the CPTPP in September 2021. Thailand will host the APEC 2022 meeting next year, and our focus on the bio-circular green economy model for the APEC chairmanship is in line with Peru's priority in promoting sustainable economic growth. Thus, we look forward to working closely with Peru and ASEAN in sharing knowledge and expertise on boosting sustainability and building resilience. As an observer of the Pacific Alliance, Thailand is committed to deepening ASEAN-Pacific Alliance relations within the ASEAN-Pacific Alliance cooperation framework on issues such as promoting multilateralism, people-to-people relations, science and technology, sustainable development, and regional connectivity. We are looking forward to the conclusion of the new work plan for the years 2021 to 2023. ASEAN has been an integral part of sustainable global peace and prosperity. Its centrality and unity has survived the test of time, and we serve as an example of successful regional integration. We cannot do this alone, though. We are ready to engage globally to achieve our shared vision of a sustainable and prosperous world, of which Peru is among one of our valuable partners. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for your remarks. Now, may I please invite Her Excellency, Ms. Marina Estela Anwarpe, Ambassador of Indonesia to Peru, to give some remarks. Please, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much, Messi. So, Excellencies, Her Excellency Ambassador Fanny Nuli, Ambassador of Malaysia to Peru, Chairwoman ASEAN Committee in Lima, Excellency Ambassador Sorayut Chasambat, Ambassador of Thailand to Peru, Honorable Dr. Carlos Aquino, Director of CES, Honorable Maria Ostello, Professor at CES. Distinguished guests, students, and ASEAN colleagues. So good morning. So first of all, I would like to join to thank the Center for Asian Studies, San Marcos University, Dr. Carlos Aquino, Director of CES, and Maria Ostello, Professor at CES, for co-organizing this important seminar in effort to bring ASEAN and Peru closer. It is very important for us to continuously socialize about ASEAN to Peruvian students, ASEAN colleagues, in order to increase knowledge and understanding about our community, as well as to bridge cooperation in accordance with the theme of this morning's seminar, namely ASEAN and Peru, a visionary partnership. ASEAN established in 1967 in order to face internal problems or among its member countries, such as instability, conflict, and disputes, as well as the problem of communist insurgencies. The leader of ASEAN decided to transcend their differences by establishing the association, which aimed to strengthen cooperation in the field of economic and social culture, as well as to promote regional peace and stability. Today, since the first ASEAN summit in Bali in 1976 with its 10 member countries, ASEAN has many achievements, among others by taking a historic step to create single market by 2020, ASEAN community by 2015, adopting the ASEAN Outlook on the Indo-Pacific by 2018 as a guide for ASEAN's engagement in the wider Asia-Pacific and Indian Ocean regions, and concluded the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership in 2019, the free trade agreement which would help enhance and deepen cooperation in trade connectivity with their 6 dialogue partners. In 2019, as mentioned by Ambassador Sorayud, ASEAN has also accepted Peru as their 38th contracting party to the Treaty of Amity and Cooperation in Southeast Asia, which is a fundamental instrument to facilitate Peru in cooperating with ASEAN in all areas, including promoting regional security, economic cooperation, and cooperation in other areas of mutual interest. So, Excellencies, ASEAN colleagues, today ASEAN faces challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic in the region and the world, and noted the human costs and socio-economic impacts of COVID-19. But since the start of the outbreak, ASEAN has been quick to respond, from sharing information to facilitating repatriation of citizens, from keeping trade moving to helping those who are in need. However, ASEAN aware the importance to cooperate with their external partners as well as international organizations to address these challenges, including in building the regional health resilience and preparedness. This crisis has shown that being inward-looking is not an option. Cooperation and collaboration are central to ASEAN response to the COVID-19 pandemic and beyond. Just like ASEAN, Peru is also among the countries that is the biggest affected by the COVID-19. While ASEAN member countries and also Peru aware of the importance of having good health system for public and getting access to vaccines without discrimination and privileges. In this regard, this is the main field that ASEAN and Peru should cooperate on these days, and this would be a sign of the commitment to the health and the life of all people. Excellencies, students and ASEAN colleagues, the pandemic is hardly our only challenge. Regional peace and stability in the Indo-Pacific region, as well as economic prosperity, also demand our attention. ASEAN and Pacific Alliance share the same Pacific Ocean, the ocean that is so important to our prosperity. ASEAN member countries have combined population of almost 650 million persons, and Pacific Alliance countries have combined population of 225 million persons. Pacific Alliance countries have high GDP, income per capita, and free trade area. Meanwhile, ASEAN has also its GDP also high and has also free trade agreement among its members. This makes the region as a big, potential, and attractive market. Therefore, developing and increasing the economic cooperation among ASEAN and Pacific Alliance member countries is one which we should do together in order to build the prosperity of the region. And exploring the possibility to have a free trade agreement between ASEAN and Pacific Alliance may become the one good option which can increase the trade while giving opportunities for the private sector of both community. So once again, thank you very much in joining the seminar and on ASEAN. So hope you will have a fruitful discussion. Thank you very much, Messi.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for your remarks. Now, may I please invite Dr. Carlos Aquino, Director of the Center for Asian Studies of the University of San Marcos, to give some remarks about ASEAN and the Pacific Alliance, please.
Good morning to everybody. Your Excellency, Ambassador of Malaysia and Peru, Ms. Penny Muli, Your Excellency, Ambassador of Indonesia and Peru, Marina Estela Angkampey, His Excellency, Ambassador of China and Peru, Mr. Sir Jasonbak. It is a pleasure to be here. Thanks for the invitation. And also we have the presence of Ambassador Luis Sugoyama, Director General of Economic Affairs of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Peru, Polish and dear friends. I will talk about the topic of Asian and the Pacific Alliance. Okay, I will share with you a PowerPoint presentation. I think you can see that. Okay. Okay, I will touch, given the time limitation, I will touch just the point. This is the index. First, as having said, Asean is the Economic Association of Southeast Asian Nations that was created in 1967. Originally have 6 members, but now have 10. Okay? Brunei, Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Malaysia, Myanmar, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam. In fact, the ASEAN is the most successful group of economic integration among the developing countries. There are many countries in the world that have created economic integration group, but I would say many of them have not been achieving so much. But ASEAN have developed very fast, as we will say. It has a population, of 670 million people. It is the sixth largest population in the world, and have a GDP of nearly, as have been said, $3 billion. That will make this the 5th biggest economy in the world. What is striking, at least for me, is that in spite of so many differences among members of countries of ASEAN, for example, in economic size, you have big countries, small countries, as a country, for example, Singapore, compared with Laos, for example, there are differences among them in the economic and political system, language and religion. So even if they have many differences, they are advancing very fast. Even they are working through the creation of the ASEAN community that will have integration not only in the economic aspect, but also in the culture, society, and even political aspect. Okay? And this is very credible. As they say, they have shown unity in diversity, and ASEAN as a group have shown strong resilience in the face of global economic crisis and geopolitical challenges. It is very interesting to find that ASEAN as a group is considered one of the world's most influential organizations. In spite of being having a member countries that are small or medium or small size, they have shown big power. For example, they are at the center of the so-called Indo-Pacific region, and they have been behind many of the, behind the formation of several international organizations in the Pacific region. Just we mention, before that, just something about Asia. The ambassador have said something about that, so I will not detail more on that. You can see many differences among them, for example, in GDP per capita. But something that I want to stress is the following. ASEAN have been the engine behind the formation, for example, of the RCP. this regional comprehensive economic partnership. Some people tend to think that, for example, some people said RCP is a group led by China. That's not the case. Asean was, as a group, the one who engineered all this. Also, the APEC, also one of the original members who wanted to form APEC was ASEAN as a group. Okay? So it is interesting that even if ASEAN countries are of medium and small size, they have shown strong leadership in the formation of very powerful or big international organizations as the ones that have been mentioned here, and also in the CPTPP, in this comprehensive and progressive agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership, there are several countries from Asia, as it is stated here, okay? So it is very interesting that Asean as a group have commanded a very big power, okay? Moving to the next one, let's talk something briefly about the Pacific Alliance. The Pacific Alliance was established in April 2011 by Chile, Colombia, Mexico, and Peru, and is considering the most attractive group of countries in Latin America for international investors and countries of other regions. Its 4 members concentrate 38% of the GDP of Latin America, 50% of the total trade, and attract 45% of all other foreign investment to the region. Okay? So why is attractive the Pacific Alliance? Its main attraction it is because it's formed by countries with open economies and liberal investment environment for foreign companies. Also, the Pacific Alliance countries have many FTAs with the main economies in the world. For example, the United States, with the European Union, and they have shown an increasing interest in having more relationship, more economic relationship with Asian. Okay, for example, Chile has 30 FTAs in force, 30 free trade agreements. Mexico have 23 free trade agreements. Peru have 20, and Colombia have 50. Of the countries that have more FTA, for example, with Asia, most of them are from the Pacific Alliance. Chile, Mexico, and Peru that have, for example, several of them have FTA with Japan, for example, or Korea, for example, and in case of Chile and Peru, with China, for example. Okay? Moving to the next one. For example, you can see some indicators here. They are open economies within Latin America. For example, you can find that the merchandise trade as a percentage of GDP is very high in Chile, Mexico, and Peru, not so much in Colombia. Of course, it is not comparable with the trade openness that several countries in Asia have, for example, like Malaysia. Okay, you can find here some statistics. I will not enter in detail because of the lack of time. Okay. This is also very interesting. I will not enter in detail, but it is interesting to learn from the economic experience of several Asian countries. For example, Malaysia in 1960 have a lower GDP per capita than Peru, Chile, Mexico, and Colombia. But now, as you can see here, it has the second highest GDP per capita compared with the other Pacific countries. Okay, anyway, this Pacific Alliance country has a population, combined population of 225 million people and a GDP per capita of $18,000. Okay, also they have achieving economic integration among them, eliminating all tariff barriers and even the integration of their security. Okay. One sign of the attractiveness of the Pacific Alliance is that there are 59 countries that are observant states in the group. Okay. Of these, 4 are from Asia: Philippines, Indonesia, Singapore, and Thailand. And Singapore have just concluded a negotiation to achieve the Pacific Alliance Singapore Free Trade Agreement. Just a brief comparison between Pacific Alliance and Asian. Regarding economic size, as you see here, of course, ASEAN is more important, is more bigger than the Pacific Alliance. And regarding the trade, also ASEAN is more important than the Pacific Alliance. And regarding intra-regional agreement trade, of course, countries in Asia trade more among them than Pacific Alliance countries. So this is a problem that Pacific Alliance countries have to increase the economic integration among the trade. Just moving to the next one about the economic relation between Asian and Pacific Alliance. Okay? Of course, still looking from the Pacific Alliance point of view, still economic relation with countries of the Asian are not as big as, for example, the other countries in Asia, China, Japan, and Korea, but it is increasing. Okay? But it is interesting to see that the trade between Asian and Pacific Alliance countries resemble trade between the developed and developing countries, because most of what ASEAN export to Pacific Alliance countries is manufacturing goods, but what Pacific Alliance countries export to ASEAN countries is primary goods. Okay? And also, we have a trade deficit. Pacific Alliance have a trade deficit with Asian. Asia have a trade superiority with Pacific Alliance. Regarding investment, the amount on both sides is small, with some exception. For example, in the case of Peru, Vietnam have increased a lot, but not so much as Thailand and Malaysia, for example. Anyway, regarding political and diplomatic relations, also most of the political and diplomatic relations of Pacific Alliance countries is with the biggest and more developing countries in Asia. Okay? For example, Peru have embassies in only 5 Asian countries, with the biggest one, Vietnam, Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, and Indonesia. Okay? And just briefly about the mechanisms that exist between a Pacific Alliance and ASEAN countries. For example, from the first meeting of the Minister of Asian and Pacific Alliance countries that was made at the sidelines of the 69th session of the United Nations General Assembly, there have been this Asia-Pacific ministerial meeting. Okay? Sadly, in the year 2020, there was no meeting, and as far as I know, probably there was also no meeting this year. But even so, during the last 76th session of the United Nations General Assembly, several ministers took the occasion to meet among them, ministers from Pacific Alliance countries and some Asian countries. For example, the Minister of Thailand met with the Minister of Anyway, also there exists the ASEAN Pacific Alliance Framework for Cooperation, created the third Asian Pacific Alliance Minister meeting. Okay? And they have working in 4 priority areas, for example, economic and cooperation, education and people-to-people contact, science, technology, innovation, and sustainable development. Okay? And also there have been other meetings, for example, in the September 20, 2020, the National Coordinator of the Pacific Alliance and the important part from Asia, through a video conference, they have a meeting and they exchange views on a wide range of issues. For example, how to coordinate efforts to see the effect of the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as initiative development to support economic reactivation in both regional integration mechanisms. Also, in September, just talking of the last meeting, just in September 13, the pro tempore presidency of the Pacific Alliance in chair of Colombia this year held a virtual meeting with the official of the Association of Southeast Asia Nations, involving to agree to the final text that the work plan of Pacific Alliance Asian will have for the period 2021-2020. Okay, so they are working. Okay? And also there have been other meetings. There are many meetings. In fact, I just mentioned some of the most recent. For example, in August 20, on last August 20, there was the first cooperation meeting on gender issues between the Pacific Alliance and Indonesia. Okay. Also, we have to mention, I have been already said that, I think, the ambassador, that in 2019, Peru achieved accession to the Treaty of Amity and Cooperation of Asia. And regarding another ways in which forums, in which organization in which they meet the Asian countries and the Pacific Island countries. For example, we have the more recently, the CPTPP that entered in effect in Peru from September 19, 2000. Okay? In this case, for example, Peru now have free trade agreements, for example, with only Singapore and Thailand. But thanks to the CPTPP, Peru will have access to 4 markets: Brunei, Malaysia, Vietnam, and Thailand. Just finishing, as a conclusion, what can be said? Singapore, for example, is one of the 4 member states, and they concluded a negotiation to achieve the Pacific Alliance Singapore Free Trade Agreement. This is very interesting. They plan to sign the agreement at the end of this year, and in doing so, Singapore will become the first associated state of the Pacific Alliance. Okay? So this is a forum where they will work more closely. But there are several organizations in the East Asia and the Asia Pacific that bring together several countries of the Asian or Pacific Alliance. I just mentioned some of them. For example, we have the Forum for East Asian Latin American the Caribbean. We have the Pacific Basin Economic Council. We have the Pacific Economic Cooperation Council. We have, for example, of course, IPEC, the Forum for Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation, and we have the CPT. Okay. So Asian countries and Pacific Alliance countries, we will say that they are the most dynamic group of developing countries in both sides of the Pacific. Okay? They are developing countries, so they share common challenge and they should work together to solve it. For example, one of the things that I always interested, I am a professor, I study East Asian economies, I teach about East Asian economies, East Asian economic development, comparative economic development between East Asia and Latin America. One of the things that I always see must be done is, for example, in order to increase trade and investment among Pacific Alliance countries and ASEAN, I think Pacific Alliance countries should learn or could learn or must learn from the experience of economic development of several countries. Why I say that? Because as we have said, there is trade between Pacific Alliance and ASEAN countries, but it is a trade where Pacific Alliance countries export mostly primary goods and we import from them manufacturing. Okay? If there will be more economic development in Pacific Alliance countries, for example, we could develop more manufacturing goods, there will be intra-industry trade in manufacturing. Okay? So we have to learn from the experience of Asian countries. As I said, 30, 40 years ago, Malaysia was less developed than many countries, not only in Pacific Alliance, but in America, but they are done very good. Just, I will show 3 more PowerPoints before I finish. For example, you can see that in the 60s, for example, many foreign companies, Japanese companies, for example, they went to Asian countries, the East Asian countries, the case countries of Southeast Asia, the Asian countries, and they established factories there. So manufacturing companies established here, and that is the reason why, for example, there is a big inter-industrial trade among Asian. Okay, the same was the case of Toyota and many countries, American companies, European countries, Korean countries. Okay, so this is something very interesting. Okay? And just to finish, this is the case story. And just to finish, you can have here, for example, there is a Asia factory. So there are 2 main manufacturing factories in the world. Right? One center in Europe, around Germany. One center in the North America, around the United States, and in Asia. Okay? Some people say it is the China factory. In fact, it is China factory plus ASEAN factory. It is not only China, it is not only Japan. It is the factories in Singapore, in Thailand, in Malaysia, in Indonesia. Okay? So this shows clearly how these countries have developed. But we don't find that kind of thing among countries in the Pacific Alliance, for example. Well, Mexico is integrated in the North American but that is not the case of Chile, for example. That is not the case of Peru. That is not the case of Colombia. Okay, so there are many things that we can learn from Asian countries, Pacific Alliance countries can learn, for example, how they have to deliver. So, okay, that is all. I finished here because of the time. So, thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Carlos, for your presentation on ASEAN and the Pacific Alliance. Now may I please invite Ms. Maria Osterloh, researcher and member of the Center for Asian Studies, University of San Marcos, to give a presentation on ASEAN and Peru.
Thank you, Ms. Mansi. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Your Excellency. Mrs. Feni Nuli, Ambassador of Malaysia to Peru. Mr. Sorayut Chasombat, Ambassador of Thailand to Peru. And Mrs. Marina Stella Anwarbey, Ambassador of Indonesia to Peru. Director Carlos Aquino of the Center of Asian Studies, colleagues and friends. It's an honor to be able to speak for today's event. So I'm going to share my PowerPoint. See. Okay. Today I'm going to talk about ASEAN and Peru, political relations, trade and investment. So let's start by political relations. So from the 10 member countries that integrate ASEAN, Peru has a closer relationship with these 6 countries that we can see in this table. With Thailand, the Philippines, Indonesia, Singapore, Malaysia, Vietnam, although, of course, Peru has established diplomatic relations with the 10 of them. Okay, so diplomatic relations with ASEAN member countries were established between 1960, between the decades of 1960 and 1990s. Thailand was the first in 1965, and Vietnam the last in 1994. From the 10 members of ASEAN, Peru has embassies in Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam. And in the case of ASEAN countries, of course, Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia has embassies in Peru, and they integrate the ASEAN Committee in Lima. So in the case of the Philippines had an embassy in Peru during the decade of 1980s, but this was closed. And in the case of Peru, it had an embassy in this country in 1980, but closed in 1993. Reopened in 1995 and closed again in 2003. So also Thailand is a country of ASEAN with which Peru has the oldest diplomatic relations. It is a country that has more cooperation agreements signed. We have a partial FTA, a partial free trade agreement in force since 2011, and is the only ASEAN country with which we have established a strategic partnership. In the case of Singapore, we have a free trade agreement in force since 2009. And as Professor Aquino said, and Ambassador of Thailand said, it's possible that this year Singapore and the Pacific Alliance member countries will subscribe the FTA that ended negotiations this year. Also, in the case of Indonesia, Peru and Indonesia finished a feasibility study for a future FTA in 2016, but negotiations, haven't started yet. So, and finally, we can see in this table that from the 6 countries presented, Thailand, Indonesia, and Vietnam are the countries that have established with Peru 2 consultation mechanisms. These are the other countries of ASEAN that actually trade with these countries are very small or non-existent. And just to say that Peru's ambassador to Malaysia is concurrent ambassador to Brunei and Cambodia, and Thailand's ambassador, Peru's ambassador to Thailand is concurrent ambassador to the Philippines, Myanmar, and Laos. Now, as we can see in the previous slides, diplomatic relations with these countries were established between 1960s and the 1990s. And in this decade, but it's in the decade of the 1990s that Peru seeks to develop the relationship with this country. We saw in the table, right? They were the opening of embassies in some countries, established mechanisms of consultations with some of them, signing many cooperation agreements also, and etc. and so on. Why? Because Peru in this decade was seeking to become a member of the Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation Forum, APEC, right? And wanted to be accepted in this organism by giving a good image, right? Peru became member of APEC in 1998, and actually APEC has been an important mechanism to develop the relations with ASEAN countries, as, for example, during the Leader Summit, were signed agreements, right, to study the possibility of future free trade agreements. So thanks to this, since that Peru is member of APEC, now we have free trade agreements with Thailand, right, with Singapore, and a feasibility study finished with Indonesia. So we see here that Peru coincides with many ASEAN country members in different forums. For example, FEALAC, as Professor Aquino said, PEC, PBEC. Also, we see here that four of ASEAN countries are observer members of the Pacific Alliance. Also, this is to show how Peru develops the relationship with ASEAN countries, right? So also we have a dialogue mechanism between the Committee of Permanent Representatives of ASEAN and the Foreign Relations Group of the Pacific Alliance. That this mechanism started working in 2014, and they even have made a working plan that covers many areas in cooperation, like education, political, economy, etc. Then we have, in the case of treaties, right, trade agreements, we have that Peru, that if this comprehensive and progressive agreement of Trans-Pacific Partnership get into force, no, we will have the market of, for example, Singapore, Malaysia, Vietnam, and Brunei as new. I mean, not Singapore because we already have a free trade agreement, but the rest of the three countries will be a new market for our products. And also, well, in the case of the free trade agreement that also Professor Aquino mentioned, between Singapore and the Pacific Alliance, will be another way to trade more with this country. Okay, now let's see. Let's start with trade. I just put this comparison graphs to see how it's because actually the trade between ASEAN and Latin America and Peru, ASEAN is similar. In what way? That the region imports more than it exports, so we have a trade deficit. But also the exchange, the trade exchange has increased if we compare 2010 and with 2020. The same with Peru. We have seen, and we can see here the evolution between 2010 and 2020, sorry, that the trade has increased. Also, there is a constant trade deficit. And of course, we export more. I mean, we import more than we export. So, what is the importance of ASEAN for Peru? In this case, I want to show you, for example, now here we see on the left, Peru main export destinations, and on the right, Peru main supplying countries. In the case of Peru main export destinations, well, ASEAN represented in 2020 1% of all the Peruvian exports to the world. And in 2020, ASEAN represented the 4% of all the products imported by Peru from the world. Now we see here who are the main trading partners of Peru in ASEAN. We see that actually is Vietnam, but if we can observe here, Vietnam, Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Singapore, we import more from these countries than we export. The only main export destination for Peru in ASEAN is the Philippines. Actually, this trade is because these exports, 98% of trade which fit the Philippines. I mean, 98% of the exports to the Philippines are just copper. So as we saw in the first graph, right? Exports, Peruvian exports have increased. Excuse me. Well, as I said, Peru exports to ASEAN have increased, right? So it has increased especially in minerals, right? We also export fish and seafood, fish meal, etc. So we will see here very quickly these products by sector. In the case of, we can see that from 2010 to 2020, copper have increased and is decreasing then. Also molybdenum, zinc is increasing also, but well, in 2020 is a special year, right, because of the pandemic. But still is very stable, the value of the exports. And then we have also natural phosphate. The main buyers of copper are Philippines and Malaysia. Molybdenum ores, the main buyer is Thailand. In the case of zinc, is Thailand, Singapore, and Indonesia. And in the case of natural phosphate, is Indonesia. We have also fish and sea products and agricultural products. Actually, we can see here from 2017 to 2020 that, for example, cuttlefish and squid, frozen cuttlefish and squid has been increasing exports. Peruvian export of these products has been increasing. Or for example, well, actually, this is historical, like from 2010 to 2020, we export mainly fish meal, right, to ASEAN. But actually, if we see this blue bar and this gray bar, actually these are recently products that have entered the market of ASEAN. So it's becoming very popular, this product from Peru in this market. Also, we can see, sea products itself. And the main buyers are Thailand, Malaysia, Vietnam. In the case of oil and fish meal, Vietnam is the main buyer. The same for example, fruits. Thailand is the main buyer, Indonesia also. But here we can see that, for example, fresh grapes export of fresh grapes have been increasing during this time period, although has been decreasing also. But we see the increase of cocoa, for example, cocoa and its preparations. We can see here fresh cranberries or blueberries, right? This gray bar is increasing also. And we can see this from 2016 to 2020. These agricultural products also are new, right, to the market. So they are increasing, and we need to develop more the market to increase exports. The same for chemical products. Chemical products also have increased, and wood sawn. So as we saw, well, actually, why exports to ASEAN are not that much like imports. In this case, another reason is because ASEAN, as you see, they don't import much minerals, okay? These are minerals. They don't import much mineral, although it has increased this value from 2011 to 2020, it's not much. So Peru is a raw material exporter, right? Especially of minerals. So that's why we don't export much of these, and maybe that's why exports are not that high, like in the case of China, right? That buys a lot of copper, zinc, etc. from Peru. But look at this part. ASEAN is becoming a more important buyer of products of animal origin, vegetable, fruits, you see, and food products. So we need to develop more this market for these sectors. Fine. So as we can see here, imports from ASEAN has increased, especially if we disaggregate the value, the number, right? The value imported. Mobile phones, look how much has increased from 2010 to 2020. Look, for example, footwear also, look. Or for example, tourism cars also. So each time we import more from ASEAN because they sell products that we don't produce. That is why. And also, actually, as Professor Aquino said, ASEAN countries receive a large amount of foreign direct investments. Multinationals from Korea, right, China, Japan, have this region as the more important manufacturing hub. So that is why, for example, between 2016 and 2020, ASEAN received more FDI from more FDI than China in the same time period. And now let's see about OSEX, the commercial offices of Peru abroad. These are important ways to develop a market, right, to increase exports. We have only one right now. We only have the Thailand of commercial office. This is important. Why? Because these offices are a link between the Peruvian exporting companies and the potential buyers in the target country. They make also business intelligence studies and present Peru as an attractive country to invest and to come to tourism. So we have only one OSEX that actually this OSEX of Thailand was created in 2017, but started operations since 2021, I mean this year, recently. We had an OSEX in Indonesia created in 2013, but was closed in 2019. Actually, the reasons were that the government wanted to give more economic support to other OSEX in Asia, like in China or Korea. Okay, now the investments. The main investors of ASEAN in Peru are Singapore and Vietnam. Actually, Vietnam had highest investment stock in Peru, and the largest investment stock in Peru. So in the case of Singapore, there is $1.1 billion of investment stock. And in the case of Vietnam, from 2011 to 2019, there is $1.2 billion. Where are these investments? In the case of Singapore, in the pharmaceutical sector and the food processing sector. And in the case of Vietnam, Vietnam is in the telecommunication sector from Vitel Mobile, and a state-owned company that operates since 2011. Actually, this company of telecommunication had in 2020, last year, the 18% of participation in the telecommunication market of Peru. And then also we have, in the fuel sector, we have Vietnamese investments. In the case of, well, they have invested in several oil plots, but currently they only have these two. Plot 39 and plot 667, and in the case of Malaysia, I couldn't find any data on how much is this investment in Peru, but according to an interview of 2016 to the ambassador of Malaysia in this year, he said that there are companies of Malaysia that have invested in Peru in the food, in the beverage sector, right? Especially in the so well-known coffee with Ganoderma, right? This edible mushroom that give you many healthy, many good benefits for your health if you take it. All right, we also have, Peru also have invested in ASEAN. This is the investments of AGE Group in the world, under the Biscola brand. It's a soda, it's a beverage, right? And they have investments in Vietnam, in Thailand, and Indonesia. We also have restaurants like in Thailand, Peruvian restaurants in Thailand and in Indonesia. So finally, just to say, this is important. We're going to see the maritimes and air routes. Why? Because Peru, in this case, these are maritime routes. Peru has only 8 direct services. Peru has 8 direct services to China, 4 to Japan, and 7 to Korea. But if we see the other countries from Asean, we don't have direct services, maritime services. We have not direct maritime route services, right? But the problem is that if you see here, the time that takes to reach the country, for example, from Callao, it's in Lima, from the port of Callao to the port in Jakarta, it takes between 36 to 49 days. And also to reach Singapore, you see, there is no direct line, right? No direct maritime route to these countries. This is a problem because, for example, I give an example, right? Mangoes, Peruvian exporters, they say that the problem of this is that there are less, the prices of the fresh mango in Asian markets are very high. Why? Because they have to use 2 types of transportation. For example, they say they go from Callao to Miami in flight, right, air routes, and they go from Miami to Thailand, right, in a maritime transportation. These 2 types of transportation takes 30 days. So other problem that takes this is that the fresh fruit only lasts, the life of the fresh fruit only lasts in the supermarket shelf in Thailand for 1 week. So this is something that don't give us much competitiveness, right? But there is also a direct air route to Singapore, an air route, right? This is more expensive. We have 3 another air routes that goes also to Singapore, but pass through a lot of other countries before reaching this country. So what's next? ASEAN is a potential market that is becoming increasingly attractive due to its economic and population growth, the expansion of the middle class also and its working class, whose labor cost is one of the lowest in Asia, will continue to attract investment. And in addition, it is part of important treaties such as the CPTPP and the RCEP. All these will increase the flow of investments and trade among its members, thus increasing the quality of life and therefore spending, right? For this reason, Peru should consider exploring this market further, either through the implementation of more offices, participating in more fairs, events, etc., or can promote trade and attract investment. Greater knowledge about the population also of these countries and their consumption preferences is also prevalent, since it is a region with a young population. 60% of them are less than 35 years old, and where the growth of internet usage by 2030 will reach almost all its inhabitants, making e-commerce an important channel to reach consumers in the future. It is therefore also important to negotiate the increase in scholarships and these countries can provide to Peru. Well, in order for Peru to increase trade with these countries, it needs an increase of its exportable offer, as well as investment in infrastructure that can be attracted from some of these countries. I just put here this Fresh Living little logo. It is a website that sells food in Thailand, and just in July, they started to sell chia, quinoa, avocado also, and also many supermarket websites in Thailand started to sell these Peruvian agricultural products. So we hope we can develop more our relationship with ASEAN in the future, because it is a potential market for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Maria, for your presentation. I would like to open the floor to questions and comments. I see a comment from the Director General of Economic Affairs of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Peru. He says, ASEAN and member countries constitutes a big opportunity for Peru, not only in commercial terms, but also in other areas of cooperation. The CPTPP, APEC, Pacific Alliance and Digital Economic Partnership Agreement also offers opportunities. However, in this competitive context, it's very interesting to see how ASEAN is maintaining the balance of power, and it is of Peru's interest to keep following this. Also, we have a question here from Juan Diego Zamudio from the University of San Marcos. He says the participation of ASEAN students is high. Is it possible that the embassies of ASEAN can support the mobility of these students, maybe with a 6-month program? And his second question is, will ASEAN countries invite the president to visit or other presidents of Latin America? And it's very good how ASEAN member states are working with Japan, China, and who are also partners of Peru. And he also offers to study about the trade of ASEAN from the Center for Asian Studies.
Can I add something? Juan Diego Zamudio, we have here in the Zoom room 3 members of the Center for Asian Studies, beside Maria and me. We have Juan Diego Zamudio, he's now in Japan. He made a question. Also, Beatriz Canchari, who graduated from Korea, and Ana Maria Mancia, who graduated from Taiwan, China, and she's now in Taiwan. So Juan Diego did this question. Yeah, I think within the Pacific Alliance, we have this student mobility, okay? Every country in Pacific Alliance offer the other countries 100 scholarships. So Juan Diego asked, perhaps if that could be possible, if some Asian countries can give a scholarship to or students from the Pacific Alliance. It will be very interesting. But anyway, that question perhaps could be answered by some of the ambassadors of Asian countries. Yeah, it will be very good, no, to have student mobility among students from Asian to the Pacific Alliance countries and from Pacific Alliance. And also, if you allow me a comment, yeah, Ambassador Tsuboyama said something very interesting also. He said that perhaps, we have this strategic competition and this Indo-Pacific initiative, really. And he said it's very interesting that the Asian countries have a equidistant situation, equidistant position between China and the United States. And he's probably a Pacific country which should adopt something like that, okay? In that case, I think Asian countries have more unity, okay? Even if I said there are many countries who are so diverse, and supposedly Pacific Island countries like Peru, Colombia, Chile, and Mexico, we share many common things, the same language, the same religion, but we are not united sometimes in this aspect. So in that sense, I think also we can learn from Pacific Island countries. So, sorry, we can learn from Asian countries, how they form a unity in front of several geopolitical challenges that are arising now in the world, specifically in the Pacific.
Dr. Carlos, let's see if I may, responding to the questions from the student, the first questions about the mobility of students. For Malaysia, I'm talking for Malaysia, we did offer a scholarship from private university last year, but as for now, there's no taker as far as I'm concerned, and also for the we also offer, Malaysia also offer Malaysian Technical Cooperation Program, but normally this is either to students or depends on the training institutes that offer the course, and normally 1 month or it could be 2 months, and also mostly for the officers or those been working for trainings either on technical and also on the skill that Malaysia could offer. But this past 2 years, due to pandemic, all the courses by MTCP are done virtually. So, we hope that once this pandemic is over, we can offer again this course, a visit to Malaysia again. And on the questions whether ASEAN country could invite the leaders of Peru to visit ASEAN countries, and for informations, there has been, there were opportunity, there has been a visit by the presidents and president or foreign minister in that case to ASEAN countries, and there's many opportunities before this. And I believe there are also more opportunity to come, and not only, and also Thailand is also going to host the APEX. That's normally this kind of forum, this kind of meetings that create opportunity for visits of the leaders from Peru or of all the APEX members that normally be done like back to back. So which Malaysia also did. Unfortunately, last year when we hosted the APEX, it was done again virtually. So it's not possible to invite a physical meeting in our country, and that's been said. That again, I say that we hope that the pandemic will be go away with all this, and we will settle, or we cure it, whatever it is, to heal the whole nations from this pandemic, that will be able to back to the normal, that we hope for more physical interactions, visit to Malaysians, visit to other ASEAN countries. Normally it's a very good opportunity when the Latin American countries, especially Peru, with all the distance, that not only visit ASEAN, it could be visit all the ASEAN countries, take the opportunity, because it's not worthwhile to only visit one country. When you go to ASEAN, it's better to visit. It's normally done like a chain visit to other ASEAN countries, that visit to Malaysia, Thailand, and Indonesia during that one visit. So I think my other two colleagues will also perhaps I can add into this my comment. Thank you very much.
If I can add just something, yeah, as Ambassador Fernuli said, yeah, this APEC meeting, for example, it's a very good chance to have leaders from several Pacific Alliance countries. 3 countries, Colombia, sorry, Mexico, Peru, and Chile are members of the APEC. And next year, as Ambassador Richardson said, next year, the APEC meeting will be in Thailand, so that's a good chance, okay, for our leaders of Pacific Alliance country, at least 3 of them, Mexico, Chile, and Peru, to travel to not only to Thailand, but perhaps given the chance to travel to all the person.
Mrs. Moderator, maybe I can have. Okay, so Professor Aquino, so regarding the question here from Juan Diego, as you know that Indonesian Embassy is also offer the scholarship, but also to study in Indonesia. And then we regularly to socialize our scholarship, name Dharma Siswa organized by our Ministry of Education in San Marcos University. And since maybe 2006 already 16 or 17 Peruvian study in Indonesia. And then regarding the visit of President of Latin America to ASEAN countries or to Indonesia, I think we are very support because as far as I know that maybe only Chilean and Argentina president visited Indonesia. So I think it's very good if a president from Latin American countries visit ASEAN countries more, and then use the sideline of like APEC meeting or any international organizations meeting to meet each other. I think that's all. Thank you very much.
If I may ask, perhaps I can add something. I think that when it comes to student mobility, as Ambassador Penny and Ambassador Estela already mentioned, that ASEAN, we have our own individual program. Thailand also, we provide the technical cooperation, and sometimes we give scholarships to students. And the thing is that right now, many courses and including postgraduate study switched into the virtual format. So I think the whole purpose of having this exchange is to go to the country and get the life experience. That is more important. So I think that maybe next year it would be much better. I think the situation has improved a lot, and also in many universities in Thailand, as well as in Malaysia, as well as in Indonesia, I think they provide scholarships. For me, I will be trying to promote that, and I'm very sure that we have a great opportunity to expand on it. And another issue that I want to say is that from my side, I've been promoting the knowledge, the two-way communications between Latin America and also Thailand and also ASEAN. I just hosted the webinar on relating trade and investment opportunities between Thailand and Peru. And also I'm going to do it with Colombia. So things are moving, although we are starting, but I'm very sure that it will be picking up speed very much next year. And we are going to host APEC meeting next year. I'm very certain that because Thailand plans to do it on site, we will have the meeting on site. So there will be a lot of opportunities for leaders from Peru, from Chile, from Mexico to visit the region. That would be a great opportunity. And we are at the center of Asia, and we will continue to play our constructive role with regard to geopolitics that some of our friends have mentioned. I think that we have been very constructive, and ASEAN will be trying to play a constructive role there. And this is something that we can also learn and share with each other, ASEAN and the Pacific Alliance, and the three embassies here, Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand. We try to have more activities, and well, soon we will be doing something I think very interesting, because the exchange between ASEAN and Peru, and also in other Latin American countries, right now, even from the perspective of some people in Thailand, that there used to be this feeling that we are far apart, right? But now, because of the connectivity through the internet and so on, some Thai movies or some Thai music are being recognized in certain countries in Latin America, including in Peru as well. So we can see next time we will have our contemporary pop culture coming into Peru and also in Latin America. This is something that is happening, although slowly now, but is coming along. So this is something that I want to add right now. And I also want to thank Professor Carlos for supporting the activities of ASEAN. So this is something that I want to add just now.
If there are no further questions or comments, I would like to invite Dr. Carlos Aquino of the Center for Asian Studies of the University of San Marcos to give some closing remarks, please.
Thank you. Well, first, I want to thank again the opportunity given to the Center for Asian Studies to host this webinar in Asian and Pacific Alliance relation. It is an honor really to have this opportunity. Well, in fact, CS, our center, have a very old relationship with Asian countries. Okay, we have organized it when the physical contact was possible. We have organized several events in my university and hope to do again. Hopefully next year we will have this meeting, face-to-face meeting. Also, we are very grateful to the Asian Committee, for example, because we have you have donated books. More than 100 books was donated by the Asian Committee here, by the Embassy of Thailand, Malaysia, and Indonesia. And this is very helpful for our researchers, for our students to increase their interest in Asian countries. And, but we still want to do more. For example, in our center, we have at least 10 members who have did postgraduate studies in Asia. I was forming in Japan, for example. Maria was forming in China. Here, there are 3 members of the center. Juan Diego has been in China, now is doing his master's degree in Japan. Beatriz Canchari did his MBA in Korea, and Maria really did his MBA in Taiwan and China. We have people formed in Korea, China, but no one yet in some Asian countries. Okay, so we hope in the future we will have a specialist formed in Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, to name some of them. So that's why we will take advantage of the scholarship that Asian countries are offering, because this is something necessary. We in Peru, sadly, we don't have many specialists. We are forming specialists in Southeast Asian countries, so we hope we can achieve that. Okay, but also as important as to have a specialist or to have economic relationship, to have political relationship, to have diplomatic relationship, as Ambassador Soraya Chasundak have said, we need to have this educational exchange, cultural exchange, and sport exchange. I was delighted to have attended 1 week ago at the invitation of the Italian ambassador with the Asian Family Day, and for example, to have a chance to see this Thai sport, Muay sport, for example. So we need to know more about the culture events, the sport events, the cultural aspect of Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, to name one of the key countries. Okay. Also, in this aspect, we are having, as you know, for example, from Korea, from Japan, we have some activities in cultural aspect. So we hope the embassies will work on that, and we will offer our help to do that. Okay? Anyway, again, I want to thank Her Excellency's Ambassador of Malaysia in Peru, Ms. Penny Nuli, Her Excellency Ambassador of Indonesia, Peru, Maria Estela Bombay, and His Excellency Ambassador of Thailand in Peru, Mr. Sorayuri Jason. Really having a pleasure to have this webinar and hope there will be more opportunities in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Carlos. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we are now coming to the end of the program. On behalf of the ASEAN Committee in Lima, thank you very much for your kind participation. Now, if I may, please invite everyone to take a group photo. So please turn on your cameras.
Please, a photo session, okay? Really, we want to thank the presence of everybody, and also we have, as far as I know, the presence of two persons from the Embassy of Costa Rica, Mr. Oscar Solis Rangel, we see here. And there's another person, I don't remember now. So yeah, it's very good to have all of them. Okay, we were going to have a picture. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Thanks again to
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Carlos.
See you again.
Thank you, Ambassador Sorayu. Thank you, Ambassador.
Thank you.
Thank you, moderator. So,
See you again.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you.